Hi, welcome to episode 33 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog and have the show notes over at thecornerofknitandtea.com. And I have an Etsy shop called The Stash Buckler Adventures in Yarn where I sell my handspun yarns. We also have a group on Ravelry called The Corner of Knit and Tea, and we have a knit along currently going on over there, so if you haven't checked it out, come on over. So hi, how are you? I hope you enjoyed the last podcast with Liz. We had a wonderful time and it was kind of fun having a co-host. It was a little bit different than normal. I did get to knit a little bit, which was great, but it was nice having someone to talk to because usually it's just me talking at the camera and I kind of rush through everything that I have, and so it was really, really nice to get to have a conversation with someone. And then we hung out and knit for a while in the afternoon. And actually by now she is back home in Tempe. So it was a wonderful visit and I can't wait for her to come visit again. And I hope that we'll record another episode together in the future. So this week has been a little bit crazy. Work has been really, really busy. Because we have quarterly board meetings and all sorts of things coming up, so I have been quite busy at work. And then this weekend has been kind of crazy busy as well. I play in a Dungeons & Dragons game, actually, that my husband is the game master, the GM, and we normally play the second Saturday of the month, but sometimes when people have conflicts, we move around a little bit, and so yesterday was Dungeons & Dragons, so I did that all day. And then today, which is the last Sunday of the month, is the monthly Spinners Guild, or not Spinners Guild, but monthly Spinners group, so I am getting ready to go out to someone's house. Actually, this month it's someone pretty local. And spin for the afternoon. So it's just been kind of a crazy busy social weekend, and I haven't gotten a ton of crafting done, although I'll get lots of spinning done this afternoon. And I wanted to record a podcast kind of quickly before I get out of the house, and then I also have my regular chores. So the weekend is going to go by fast, and we're going to be back into the work week before I know it. But I did want to sit down and record. So I hope that you've been having a good week, and I will get right into things. The last couple of days have been a little cooler, but I am back into my iced tea, and oops, I forgot the tea packet. I am drinking my own mixture. I call it Guava Green. What it is it's a couple parts of Guava Cadabra, which is an herbal tea by David's Tea, and I will put a link in the show notes. And then I mix it with a little bit of green tea. Usually what I do is I make a big pitcher, and so I use 4 or 5 green tea bags. We have a glut of green tea from when my husband was real big into it. We have several boxes. And so I kind of use my expensive teas a little bit more sparingly and mix them with the green. And so what I get is a really refreshing kind of fruity drink. And I have a couple other fruit blends that I think I'm going to try with that for the summer, because I am just hoping for spring and summer. The window is this direction so I can see outside, and like I said, it's actually not super warm today. It's in the 40s and 50s, but we are moving in the right direction, and everything, we had a bunch of rain this week, so everything has really greened up, and so I am looking forward to that. So this is Guava Green in my Tervis mug. And I suspect in the coming months you're going to be seeing more iced tea than hot tea. But I use the same teas. Usually what I do is I make them hot and make them in a pitcher and then pour them over ice, or sometimes I will just make 1 cup hot and then pour it over ice. So it's kind of the same thing, it's just in a different format. So that is teas, which brings me to what I am wearing. I am not wearing something that I have knit, but I am wearing my I Like to Party, and by party I mean stay home and knit shirt. It is from Look Human, and it is super comfy and kind of cracked us up. I got mine by accident. My friend Anna over at the Well Appointed Desk, she ordered one for herself, and it turned out to be kind of big, so she asked if I wanted it. So and the company sent her a replacement. for free. So she had this extra shirt. So she asked if I wanted it, and I washed it in super hot water and dried it so that it shrunk up a little bit. It's still a little big, but I have been wearing it just as a comfy, cozy shirt, and it is so true because I can be just happy staying home and knitting. So that is what I'm wearing. There will be a link to that in the show notes, and we also actually just placed an order for more shirts. Another one that looks kind of like this that says, if I can't take my yarn, I'm not going. So I plan to wear that in future episodes, but that is what I am wearing this week. So let's get into the knits. I have no finished objects this week. I am working on some bigger projects again, and so I just didn't knock anything out. But the first thing I can show you is, oops, yarn down. The first thing I can show you is my first sock. This is the first Calendula cable sock by Woolhoon, and the yarn is yummy, luscious. It is Lammy Toes. This is her BFL blend, which I believe is an 80/20 BFL nylon, and it is not in a named colorway. It was in one of her first colorways. She called it Experimental. So that is the first sock, and actually if I hold it this way you can kind of see all the little bits, the yellows and greens and oranges and all kinds of beautiful colors that are in this sock. And I wanted just a little bit of a pattern that I thought would show up, and the cables show up beautifully. I have cast on and am through the first like maybe 2 repeats in the cuff for the Calendula cables. The other sock and the cable itself is reversed on the other, so it will be a mirror opposite. So I am about 2 repeats in. That's what I worked on yesterday on Game. I should say that I actually decided to go ahead and knit this sock mostly as written. It is a top-down sock because I didn't want to mess with how to deal with the cables. Usually I do knit toe up. It is a top-down sock with a heel flap and a gusset, and then a narrowing of the toe, which is not as round as my normal toe, but I went ahead and, oops, knit it pretty much the same. The only thing that I did is, because I have a smaller foot, when I went down through the gusset, I took an extra couple stitches out of the bottom of the foot, so the bottom of the foot is actually a couple of stitches shorter across than the top of the foot where the pattern is. That's something that I figured out how to do a while ago. It makes for a better fitting sock for me, and of course you don't miss the stitches on the bottom of the foot. So that is the first one. The second one is in progress. It might be done by next weekend, but I'm not sure. It kind of just depends how much knitting time I have this week, but I hope to get that done, if not by next weekend, certainly by the weekend following, and have another wonderful pair of socks to wear. Of course, we are moving towards the season when I will not be wearing socks as much because it gets really warm and I switch to sandals for summer, but that doesn't mean I can't knit socks. And indeed, I will probably knit some socks over the summer because socks are a really nice project to work on when the weather is super warm outside. So that is sock number 1, and I like to just hang that right over there. That brings me to the second project on my needles, which I also showed you last week and the week before. That is my pie shawl. I am knitting the Heliotaxis pie shawl by Renata Brenner, and I am knitting it in a Squoosh Sublime lace, which is a superwash merino lace in the colorway Raisin. And I got to a bigger point. Let's see, which side is the front side? This is the front side, and I am working on chart 3. I am partway through chart 3, so you can kind of see that the pattern has changed. I know it's really hard to see. I'm not sure how much I will really show you this as we go on. Suffice it to say, this is bigger. I have another probably 20 to 25 rows on this chart before I move on to chart 4. This has not been seeing as much work this week because I have a couple other projects. Oh, actually, that's right there. You can sort of start to see the pattern in chart 3. That's the first 20 rows. This will not see quite as much work because I'm working on a few other things right now, and the lace rows are getting longer and longer, so I don't know that I'll show you this every week, and because it's just really hard to see what it is, as is the case with lace, it's all bunched up on the needle and it looks like a whole bunch of nothing and kind of like a rag, and then the magic comes in the blocking. So I don't know how much I will show you this one going forward, but you will see it some. So that is my pie shawl ongoing. My third project is one that I also showed you last week, and I was looking for advice from the Knitty Committee, and I got it, and I have continued on a little bit with it. This is the Krita, which is a lace cardigan on Knitty. It is by Yarn Madness. The pattern is free, and I am knitting it in a yarn that I have stashed, which is discontinued. It is called the Yo-Yo Cash Sport String. And I showed you last week that I had knit the first little bit and had some questions about gauge and where I was going. I decided to keep going, and at knit night on Wednesday, I was able to get all the way down to where I pull off for the sleeves. And just to show you, there is the start of the lace pattern here in the center by the edges, and I also went ahead and pulled off for the sleeves. So I am undecided exactly what I will do next. My original plan was to basically get to this point and then do the sleeves and then do the body, because I am using a discontinued yarn and I am close on yardage, so I want to be sure that I get full sleeves. And then since the sweater is long, I actually do have a picture of it here. Since the sweater is super long, I figured I could do the sleeves first and then knit on the body until I ran out. So that is Krita. That is what it will look like. So again, I am just up at the top here, and I have just started the lace pattern, which is right at the bust. So I am working on that. I also made the decision that I do not want to do buttonholes. So I am actually going to skip the buttonholes, which is nice because I don't have to pay attention to them as I knit. And I think I'm just going to do a little clasp, probably just a little metal clasp up at the top. And this will be a nice cardigan to wear in the warm weather, or I was thinking even inside the air conditioning in my office this summer. So I am working on this, but actually even work on this has slowed just a bit. Because I offered to knit a sample for a store, and so I have been working on that this week. I am knitting as a sample for a store, and I'm not actually going to talk about which one, because I don't really know. We didn't really discuss whether I should talk about it. But it is something that I'm knitting, so I thought I would share. I am knitting a featherweight cardigan, which is by Hannah Fettig, but we are knitting it using custom fit, so that it will be a particular size. Actually, it's not going to be my size. The store owner used measurements. I don't know whether they're her own or whether she just picked. So we are knitting a cardigan using custom fit. And the most interesting to me is that the featherweight pattern is a top-down raglan. And I'm not giving much away because the pattern actually says that. When you use custom fit, it alters the pattern based on your yarn and your gauge and your measurements. And custom fit actually suggests that you knit the pattern in pieces because it tailors it to fit your specific measurements. And the way it does that is that it feels it can create better shaping by having you knit the cardigan in pieces. Now, when I went through and read that, I thought, oh, well, that's kind of interesting because it was a top-down raglan. Which one of the benefits of a top-down raglan is that you knit it all in one piece. and that you don't have to do a lot of seaming. So I thought about it, and there were instructions included in the custom fit for knitting it as what they say as seamless as possible. And what that means is that they have you start at the bottom of the body and work your way up, and you knit the bottom and the fronts in one piece until you get to where you would separate for the arms and sleeve holes. And then you continue knitting the pieces and seam at the shoulders, and then you work on the sleeves and the collar. So I decided to go ahead and knit it that way. And the sample that I'm knitting is in Haiku, which is a Skacel yarn, and it's the Riley yarn, which is a, and it's in this beautiful sea color. It is an alpaca silk linen yarn, which I think will be beautiful for spring and the summer. And it is a sport weight, so it will be super nice and drapey. And so this is what I have done for the beginning. I have basically, as you can see, I have one front, and then I have the back, and then I have the other front, and I have done the bottom ribbing and a little bit into the body, and I am just at the point where I need to start doing some shaping, and I have my side markers to denote where the shaping will occur. So this I will be working on in the next couple weeks. Again, this actually will not fit me. The bust measurement for this is several inches smaller than my bust. So this will be a very small sweater, but I am enjoying knitting it. The yarn was a little rough when I first wound it up, but as I work with it, it softens up a lot, which is often the case with linen. And I shouldn't say rough, I should say a little bit stiffer, which is very characteristic of linen, and I'm sure that as you wash this and wear it, it will just get even lovelier with each wash and wear. And the silk and the alpaca make it soft, and I really think this is going to drape nicely. It's going to be a nice piece for spring and summer. So you will see me work on that in the next few weeks. There isn't exactly an official deadline on it, but I do want to get it, stitches off the needle. I do want to get it done fairly quickly because it is for someone else's shop, and I know she's hoping to have it in for May. So that is the fourth object that I am working on. I am also working a little bit on my Cozy Memories blanket. I'm not going to be bringing that to show for a while. Mostly I am working on crocheting the little centers in the hexagons. I am crocheting a ton of centers so that then I can just sit down and play with the layout and attach a whole bunch at one time. So I have a whole bag full of little centers, and as I start to attach more, I will bring the blanket in to show you. I just do those, like last night I finished what I wanted to finish knitting about 10 o'clock, and we didn't go to bed till 11, so I crocheted just a couple of those little centers and put them away. So that is what is on my needles, which is quite a bit lately, but I always have a few different projects going. I know we talked about it with Liz, talked about that last week. I always have a project that I can work on at work, which right now is my socks. I have a project that really doesn't leave home, which is the lace, because that's a little too complicated to take with me. This week I took the red sweater, the Critta, with me to knit night. I will probably take the featherweight with me next week. So it just kind of depends. I have a bunch of things going, and pretty soon I'll get into a finishing mode and try and finish them all, and then probably cast on a million more and repeat ad infinitum. So that brings me to spinning. I'm actually a little behind on spinning because I didn't show you last week, and if you'll excuse me for one brief moment, my yarn fell on the floor. Yarn down, back up. 2 weeks ago, I showed you a braid from Three Waters Farm that was blue-faced Leicester in the colorway Dark Sweet Cherries. And actually, I finished that in time for last weekend's recording, but did not have it with me because I was up with Liz. So this is Dark Sweet Cherry, and it is beautiful. It is a sport weight. It's about, I think, about 275 yards, possibly 85. It is reds and purples and pinks, and it's a very semi-solid. You can see sort of the shades as you get closer to it, and this is up in the shop if you are interested. That is Dark Sweet Cherries, and it actually kind of goes with that other braid that I spun that is also in the shop. So if you are looking for 2 skeins for a project, this would be it. I also spun something else this week, which I did not get to show you in braid form. There is a picture on my Instagram feed. Unfortunately, I applied it up late last night and then stuck it in the sink and forgot about it, so it was still wet this morning. So it is still hanging to dry, so I will have to show you that next week. It was a Blueface Leicester by Hello Yarn in purples and yellows, and it came out really lovely. I'm very happy with it. There will be pictures on Instagram this week and I will show you. So I am ready for a new spin, and because I am going to the spinning group today, I wanted to take something special that I could work on for a while. Back in January, when I went to spinning group, we met in Harveyville. The Harveyville project is the site of Yarn School, and the owner, Nicole, is a member of this spinning group. It's basically a spinning group for Eastern Kansas. We go all the way over pretty much to Topeka and a little bit beyond, and we rotate people's houses. It's based on whoever offers to host each month, so we kind of go back and forth within a 2 to 3 hour radius of Kansas City. Anyway, she always offers, Nicole, who is the proprietor of Yarn School, always offers to host January, and everybody brings a little bit of extra fiber, and what we do is we play with the drum carders. And so we all divide our fiber into as many sections as there are people playing along, and we each get to use the drum carder and make ourselves a bat, and we call them crazy bats, and then we have them so that we can spin them up. And it's really interesting to see how we all, sorry, I have a little bit of crinkling, how we all use the same fiber and we all end up with different bats. It depends on the year based on what people bring. Sometimes we have lots of naturals because we have lots of people who attend who have flocks of their own. This year, some years we have variegateds, some years it really varies. This year, sort of by chance, we all mostly brought solids or semi-solids, so that the bats that we made are very, very semi-solid in colorways. So this is my Spinster's bat. It's got yellows and greens and blues and oranges and pinks and some great gray. And so it is just huge. And my guess is we all, the rule is that you bring 4 ounces of fiber and you divide it among everyone. So theoretically, everyone should go home with 4 ounces of fiber. And everyone without fail brings more than 4 ounces of fiber. So I would guess this is between a 5 and 6 ounce bat. And we got to use her motorized drum carder this year, which will make bigger bats. So this is the bat that I made this year. And this is what I am going to spin today. I figured it would be appropriate to spin it at Spinster's since it was made at our January meeting. So I hope to get through some of this in the next couple days and ply it up and have this be my final spin for March. That might be wishful thinking because March is only a couple more days. Today's the 29th. So that might, like I said, that might be wishful thinking, but that is the spin that I am going to undertake today and next week. And it should be crazy colorful. This color actually isn't showing up. It's like a highlighter yellow. So yeah. That is what I'm going to work on today. So I think that brings me to close to the end of the episode. A final reminder that March was our hat knit along month in the Corner of Knit and Tea Ravelry group. If you have knit a hat this month and you have not posted a picture in our finished objects thread, please do for a chance to win a prize. The prize this month is a $25 gift certificate to the store of your choice. My only requirement is that the store has to have an online presence that I can purchase the gift certificate to. It can be Etsy, it can be a tea store, it can be a yarn store, it can be whatever store you would like as long as I can purchase it online. and send it to you online. So we have, I think, a little over 30 entries right now, so your chances at winning are pretty good. And I haven't decided if there will be a second prize. I might do a second place, maybe just a pattern on Ravelry, but we will see about that. So that is coming up. That will end on Tuesday night, and I haven't decided if I'll wait for the next podcast or I will award the prize on the 1st. I might go ahead and award the prize on the 1st, in which case you can check out the Ravelry group for details and notifications on who won. I haven't decided what we'll do next. I might take a break for a month on knit-alongs and then do something more towards the summer. I got some great ideas the last time I asked. As always, if you have ideas about knit-alongs or things you'd like to do or questions for me of any sort, please feel free to contact me. I am on Ravelry quite a bit. I am also on Twitter and Instagram. You can leave a message for me on my blog. Pretty much get a hold of me in just about any way, and I would love to hear from you. So that is my show for the week. I hope that you have had a wonderful week and weekend and lots of time to do some great crafts. I follow quite a few of you on Instagram and love looking through and seeing what you're crafting during the week. And so that has been really a fun part of podcasting, is getting to know you all. But I say, as I always do, happy spinning, happy knitting, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!